Welcome, filth weavers. So today I was getting the feeling right before turning the camera on today, tuning into your energy and feeling like you might be trying to pull two different things together to try to make it work. I'm feeling this big effort of trying to make it work and trying to pull these things together. And part of the message is letting it go and listening to these two different parts and allowing them to become what they want to become. There's a little bit of patience that'll be needed. And I'm getting the sense it'll just become something way more than you could ever have imagined or dreamed or hoped it would be. What else? I'm getting this feeling of shuffling, feet shuffling. It might feel like you're just shuffling your feet and you're not really going anywhere and you really want this to work out. If that's how you're feeling, then the message is to really slow down and listen. You don't need to waste your energy in movement unless you really feel that movement emerging from within you. Let's pull some of our sacred geometry. I'm hearing the time is now to release your burden. So you might be really trying hard to make all of this work and come together because you have a lot of pressure to do that. And yeah, I'm just hearing now's the time to release your burden. So any guidance for the filth weavers for how to release their burdens and come into more allowance? Love and power and expanded Shri Yantra. Love and power. Let's read that message from the book by Francine Hart. So this is the last oracle card of this deck. It's a culmination of new and ancient wisdom of sacred geometry. So the complex geometry of this card is a catalyst and a prayer that we act in accordance with divine wisdom and with intention towards our highest, and I'll add in their lowest good. We can learn to live and love in balance. So this is a prayer for that. To come out of controlling and dominating, that sense of needing to pull it together. But what is, let's say you were trying to cut down a tree to make something because you had to maybe you're a woodworker and you had to make things and you sell them to make your living. And this is, maybe you already do this, but what is the tree? Like, what does the tree want to become? Does the tree want to stay a tree? So like coming into that sense of allowance and listening and trusting that even if your needs aren't being met through the highways and the roads that have been paved, how do we come into a vibration of allowing that consensual co-creation with the universe, the multi-universe? And this can take time, but maybe you have been working at it for some time and you're familiar with being in that vibrational resonance of love and power. When our actions come from the emergence of our hearts rather than the domination of our mind or our brain. And that, like, but you might be familiar with going back and forth between those two. And that, I'm sensing that ability in itself is strengthening something within you, something within your journey towards love and power. Hearing there's maintenance at the door. Is that for here? It's not for my apartment. The expanded Sri Yantra number 12. So when it's reversed like this, it's a time of contemplation and inward journeying. Meditate on the subject of your inquiry and ask your heart the answer. You must act in accordance with what your emotional body requires and take responsibility for the outcome. Only you can decide what is appropriate and right action. So there's like a call to go inward, to discern. Maybe that's discerning where and when you have the capacity to move into love and power, and where you're still working on it, you're still shifting. But I'm sensing it can happen fast if you jump in like head first. The alarm, jumping in head first. Maybe that's sounding a warning to maybe not jump in head first, or maybe to be aware of the risks. Can you take the risks? Can you afford the risks? Or maybe there are people that depend on you and you can't afford them that right now. What messages for the Filth Weavers? Offering. Octagon. I'm sensing into like your generous spirit, your generous heart, your generous imagination, with knowing that things are not always how they seem. There could be things growing that you don't see. Other messages for the filth weavers. Knowing that you are one. Knowing that you are one. I'm just feeling into like the soils. In love and power, there is no like hierarchy of whose knowledge is the most valuable. I'm sensing that there are worlds within worlds, many worlds within worlds. Transmutation. So, transmutation. You may be transmuting a lot of just heaviness from the world around you. In this process of going inward and soul seeking and finding what's true for you in the moment, you're transmuting doubt into inner knowing. You're transmuting fear into love. In that space of surrender, I'm just like noticing this brightness. There's this like bright white kind of emerging, but they're kind of gloomy. They're kind of like no face, like a white no face, just kind of hunched over, gloomy. So tuning inward, you're purifying your energy. Maybe needing to melt the ice, needing to melt the snow and dirt around you, let it return to the earth. What's inside of that? As it's melting, I'm imagining the glistens. And I'm seeing this like snake slither off down to the left into the forest. So finding regeneration in the forest, finding your transmutation in the forest, resonating with the earth, with the trees, just feeling yourself on the ground, feeling the pulse of the ground. Perhaps this is where you go inward. Maybe it's a real forest, if you have access to that. Maybe it's an imaginary forest of your internal landscape. What else are the filth weavers? Sympathetic. Okay, so if you're, this says Deb Dana's polyvagal card deck, and this is speaking to the state, the nervous system state of being in sympathetic when you're in this like go, go, go mode, which I think can be the mode of like mind dominating over body, emotion, spirit, and environment. So, and this card is talking about how this state of go, go, go gets activated when something feels dangerous and our survival instinct is protecting us from harm, but it can also shut us off from actions that might nourish us. So it's saying, it's giving some things you can do. Identify your day-to-day worries. Discover what your sympathetic system is protecting you from. For example, if I wasn't blank, if I wasn't maybe like working 60 hours a week, then I would lose my house or something. Now that's just an example. If I wasn't fill in the blank, then I would fill in the blank. Now switch this around and identify your hopes and discover what your sympathetic system is keeping you from. If I wasn't working 60 hours a week, then I would go to the forest and forest bathe, for example. And you can explore these questions using a variety of words to develop a full understanding of how your sympathetic system works. And revisit the questions when you notice you are entering a sympathetic state of fight or flight. Each experience may bring new answers. So you can pause this video and explore some of that if you want to. Yeah. Let's pull some from the Liberation Tarot. Any messages for our Filth Weather collective? I'm feeling like a heaviness in the heart, like a sense of despair, a sense of the world making you feel, or you feeling unworthy or undervalued or underappreciated, and like you're stuck having to do things and appear in a certain way that doesn't honor your magic and your essence. And so how do you start to shift into that space that really honors like your uniqueness? Like a lot of people are afraid of freedom because then they would actually be accountable for their actions and the implications of what they're doing. So with the filth, speaking to the Filth Weaver collective, y'all are not afraid of freedom. Y'all are here for your freedom, for creating the new world. You know it's possible. You've experienced magic. You know that what we're going through right now is it's just like it's not reaching our full potential of our love and power. Like imagine if that tiny little speck of love and power was grown and cultivated and imbued into the systems and the way that we operate and the way that we interact with nature and our economies. Only they wouldn't even be economies, they would be like regional biospheres of like interrelations and co-creation and okay, so Corona Flowers, yeah bitch, you are like the dung queen. You are the royalty, except for it's not a hierarchy, so it's the crone. It's like the wise one who knows that our real treasure is in this pile of dung, and there's a flower here that grows out of it, and there's I think that's a dung beetle. So this value, this is something you know and that you see. Like filth weavers, we see the value in what has been tossed aside and what has been like neglected. I'm noticing some pixels in the corner over here. It's like I'm feeling this kind of like virtual glitching. The kind of magic that you know is possible, like AI cannot compete with you because your imagination and your synthesis of what's possible is beyond anything that AI, like this is something you would have to teach AI in order for them to even like try to work with you. So maybe there's like maybe tech is involved with this and what you're imagining. 6 of Blades in reversed. So I'm feeling like the brass knuckles on here that have been holding you up, like that fight is over. You might be collapsing. You might need to collapse. You might need to go into dorsal and like rest, digest, just like before you can really know what is emerging from your heart. And maybe it's growing in your belly. Maybe it's a baby. Maybe it's a dream, an idea, a creation that's just gestating. And you can't see it yet because your body's has taken in so much information. 7 of Flowers. It might feel really hard to like rest. I'm hearing sirens outside. Like you might be in a desert of where you can't, a desert of working where like you can't, like if the water is a metaphor for your rest and your refreshment and your nourishment, like it's hard to come by and it's rare. It's like, don't give up. The seed is within you. 8 of Blades. I'm just getting the sense that you're kind of resigned, you're kind of resolved to be like in this space of not being valued. Your dream, like you can't see, you don't remember where you started. You don't remember like Just feeling really jaded. Like, I got into this thinking that it was my dream, and I'm just being exploited. And I don't even know how I'm ever gonna reach my dream. And this bad bitch over here is like, hey, I think we need a new dream over here. Like, we were talking about that yesterday. But like, feeling that on the establishment side of the fence, there's like this hologram of delusion, the Matrix, and then they're like outside of the fence, they've cut through, they're in the wild. And like, every moment that you remember it can be a possibility to cultivate your wildness. It can be as small as like contemplating the life of this speck of dust and the wonder in that. Bayo Komalafe talks about our carnivals. He was talking about these microscopic carnivals that are happening all around us, and we are never alone. Even if we think that humans are destroying the planet, nature is far beyond. Nature's like, okay, you can go ahead and think you're in control, but really it's me. So like, what side are you gonna be on? And really, it doesn't have to be like you pick a side, 10 of blades, feeling defeated. Like, you don't have to keep fighting. It looks like you've been defeated. Like your tapestry's all torn up. And like the world might be exploding. And parts of you are drifting all over the galaxy. You might feel fragmented and destroyed. Well, that's part of the process of coming into your love and power. It's worth it. But there's also this sense of like, of really being hurt and needing to tend to your wounds. What is some medicine for the Filth Weaver Collective? The ancestors come out. Okay, they're here. Connecting with your ancestors, the ones who are wise and well and healed. Not the ghosts who did a bunch of harm. The ones who, the ancient ones, were in right relationship with the earth. Who were in their animate minds. Ancestors. Yeah, do you have an ancestral practice? A way that you commune with them? They want you to know like how loved you are, because they're surrounding every part of you, and they are inside your cells, and they are you, and they are the stars, and they are the galaxy, and they want you to know how much they love you. And they're here with you. Your ancestors are your ride or die. They will stay up with you in the middle of the night. They'll be with you in your darkest and your brightest hours. As you let go of the domination, any lingering relationships that demanded that from you. A student of vessels, so yeah. Your ancestors want to teach you. They want to fill you up with their wisdom throughout your whole life. Your spiritual wisdom. Not, I'm sensing like not necessarily religious. Like dominant religions, but possibly just start learning more about your ancestral spirituality, your ancestral practices. That they can be a foundation for you to enter into the cycles, to enter into more ease and fluidness. Yeah, I just keep hearing we want you to know how loved you are. Yeah, feeling that love like radiating through all my cells in my body. It's like radiating in like two circles, almost like a figure eight, and those eights are radiating. That's what I'm seeing, but it's like a rainbow, like a clamshell opening in light, like a rainbow. Yeah, I'm like kind of seeing the edges of a shell, like those kind of like serrated edges of a shell, and the edges are like orange and the shell is white. And inside there's like this, it looks like this like deep orange lacquer. And there's like a tongue inside, maybe the voice of the ocean, or perhaps the voice of your ancestors if they lived near the ocean. Maybe you can hear them. If you just give yourself the time and space to listen and cultivate like a flexibility with your mind, with your imagination that opens up into your subconscious. That could be through weaving, through crafting, through art making. The mutant, that little shell creature seems like the mutant. Listening to the mutant, that mutant part of yourself. I'm just feeling really tired. Like this is going to be a long journey and you're here for it. Like this is what lights you up. I'm hearing like, why is the world like this? And I'm sensing you're opening up to the wisdom. Yeah. Well, I'm wishing you like deep rest. Deep rest, knowing that there's so much within you, within your multi-universe within you. There's like so much wonder. But I'm hearing like now is the time to rest. Like the dreams will come. The dreams of the earth. You'll be able to hear the dreams of the earth. Dreams of the ocean. Of the trees. Of your wise ancestors. I think it's a season for unraveling. Really unraveling. And just trusting that you've been through a lot. You've done so much work to get to the place where you are. There's just some more that needs to be unraveled. Like, where's the trickster? The trickster coming in to fuck things up and make you take a step back. Make you take a seat, make you take a step back, make you take a nap. Just like, yeah. Is there any support for the filth weavers? Any support that they need that you can share right now? Let's do some luminaries. important for the Filth Weaver Collective to find deep rest and access deep rest and unraveling, letting go of the need to know everything. Wow, the same card keeps coming through. Integrity. Connecting with your source. The infinite source that gives you life. And everyone around you, everyone in this multi-universe. So, offering to gently gaze upon this image, accessing your source within, coming home to yourself. Allowing your inner one to rest. And the more you allow yourself to deepen into your rest, the brighter the source becomes. The more into oneness you melt. Okay, everyone, this was your message for today, and I just want to thank you for being on this journey with me. I'm wishing you wells of rest and nourishment and just being in oneness with our source.